right, so I've got the LIC Motorsports ones in. I know that I'm on the fence about using this one because I'm not sure how much it's going to work. But basically, I've got this thing set up so that timing-wise, it's all dead nuts. I mean, including up here. I haven't pulled the pin on the tensioner yet, but I'm going to leave that in for a second. I went in and made these marks kind of in here. I kind of wish those marks made it all the way through there, but those are basically more for a reference. So what I'm trying to do is, as you can see on this crank pulley, I'll get it nice and square in the middle, that we're looking at less than without the tensioner pushed out. I'm sure if the tensioner pushes out, we'll get a little bit more on the right side. But right now we're looking at less than 180 degrees coverage there. Another one here, let me see. I think this is gonna get a little bit push, but it doesn't look like that's gonna change a whole lot. So we're talking pretty much right at the 180 mark. We'll see if we can't get a little bit tighter in there. And then I don't expect any of this stuff to change. I mean, that's a big part of why this is on here. This pushes it, pulls it down a little bit more to give us a little bit more belt wrapping contact versus maybe just like one cog. And then, of course, that's the bottom. So we're going to try and get this thing. We're going to modify this thing and just to see how close it's going to be when I max out that little LIC Motorsports tag. All right, so we haven't turned the engine over, but I do have these things going. Another big thing is I got to make sure that this force is acting kind of in this direction. I need to make sure that this eccentric part is on the tightening side of the force. And it's the same thing here. I mean, it's really borderline. I brought it back as much as I could to keep that belt wrap, and it's not a huge difference. I think all we did was just maybe close that gap up a little bit there. So not a big difference either. I think a bigger wheel or a bigger pulley would be pretty sweet. But so that's kind of how that is. But you can see already how much it's already changed the timing here. You can see that there. So I'm going to spin this motor around a couple of times. See how it's changed it there. And then see kind of where we're looking. I still haven't pulled the pin on the tensioner, but it is really, really snug. So I did give myself as much room as you can see over there on the tensioner. I've got this thing slid back as far as it'll go. So that way, with the belt as tight as it is, it'll give still some room to actually dampen the vibration. So I don't know, spin this thing around and see what happens. Now we're live. All right.
Okay, so I don't talk about we're live?
Yeah, we're live. Well, not live like on the internet live.
Oh,
all right,
so I can talk about eating ass and people won't even know.
Well, I want to use this.
Oh shit.
Yeah. All right, so we're set up now. I still haven't pulled the pin yet. I'm gonna pull this thing around just to see how much this actually has moved, and to see if it's too scary tight. You know, I mean, it is pretty snug right now without the tensioner. And that's gonna be one of those things, you know. I want to make sure that this isn't gonna be too tight for, you know, somebody using plastic cam gears. Maybe I want to make sure that it's even worth it. I want to make sure that I don't have to move this thing like 7 or 8 degrees. Maybe need to jump a timing belt tooth. All right, so we're all lined back up there. Let me steal you off of here. Okay. So now, we're way off. Look at that. Let me try to spin this around. Maybe I'm just 180 degrees off, but something tells me I'm not. Oh yeah, I was on the wrong mark. That'll happen when you got this jamoke up in here. All right, this is much better looking here.
Blame it on me.
No, me. So, yep, just like we're seeing those timing marks off like that, you can kind of see that that one is off. It looks like maybe a tooth. I mean, if you really look at it, we might be able to adjust everything back or off of a tooth here. The This one's actually really close here. You can see that's maybe half a tooth. And these are about a tooth or so. So what I'm going to do now, and that's why I made all these paint marks, is I'm going to try and get the cams themselves lined up where they should be, instead of, like, so we have the adjustments. So the outer rings are still going to be off, but hopefully the inner bits will be where they're supposed to be. So be just like a couple little degree difference there. And let's see what kind of contact we've got here. So before the pin's pulled, you can definitely see now that we're pulling more straight down and getting a little bit closer to that 180 degrees or more coverage. And then the angle, a little bit better there, nothing too crazy. So, I don't know. Stay with me. All right, so now I made these adjustments. So this is, obviously these are kind of rough adjustments to give me an idea of whether or not I should run one tooth off, which is about 7 degrees. So what I'm seeing is that, and you can see that too, this exhaust, which is really off, about 9 degrees, is paired up with this intake that's only off about 3 degrees or so. You come over here to the opposite side and you can see that this intake is off about 10 degrees and this exhaust is only off by about I guess it's off pretty far too. About 9 degrees. So I guess it would be advantageous to probably spin everything around, but I'm gonna go and put it all on like one tooth off and try and make the lick pieces where they're at right now, and then kind of see how that goes. So I'm gonna do that to, I think, 3 of, I'll give it another quick look, but I think I'm gonna end up doing it to three of them. So stay tuned. All right, so the super scary adjustment. So I jumped this cam, and this cam all back one tooth. And the idea is like when these are set in what I'm gonna call like the most aggressive tension area, as far as like belt wrap and stuff like that, it's gonna be, with it all back, now you can see that they're actually really closely timed. Like it's not perfect, you know, because it's only like 7 or so degrees. Obviously this one is still off because it's the other cam, but that's why I left the paint marks on it. You can see the paint marks are really close, and then this cam is actually really dead nuts. So yeah, so that's the super secret thing I'm doing with the LIC. I would say secret, but super crazy thing I'm doing with the LIC Motorsports stuff. So there you have it. All right, let's get the pliers here. This is the what everybody's been waiting for. Pull the little grenade pin here. Once I've gone this far, there's no turning back. Boom. Good thing that hammer dropped in the background, because I think that made it way more dramatic. All right, I'm gonna just crank this over.
Yeah, seriously, nothing happened.
I know, it's so tight.
That's what she said.
So we're gonna turn this over and see if that thing even moves at all. Oh yeah. All right, somewhat there. Let's see if I can get this. So we're still going to go in with the timing bits, but that's pretty darn close. I mean, all the marks are dead nuts. The tension, it is really tight. Hopefully that's not going to be a problem. Did that thing even pull out at all? I mean, it almost looks like I can put the tensioner back in there, the pin back in there. So, I don't know. We'll see.